I've been waiting for this night for a number of years because he is the logical successor as the next Braddock District Supervisor, and there's no one more knowledgeable and committed to our neighborhoods and our community than Ken Balbuena. This job as District Supervisor is a job about the community, and there's no one more knowledgeable and committed to our neighborhoods and our community than Ken Balbuena. It means responsible governance. And that's what we have with Ken Balbuena. So I am supporting Ken 110%. Now it is my deep honor and privilege to introduce to you someone you know well. He's been a friend of mine for a long time. He's a friend of yours, and most importantly, he's a friend of our community, Ken Balbuena.
Well, thank you. Thank you all so much for being here. Really appreciate everybody coming out. Really appreciate those kind words, John. So thank you so much for that. I definitely, before I get started, I do want to thank Aaron Henderson. Aaron put together all the spread. Did a phenomenal job. Thank you, Aaron, wherever you are. But you know, tonight I want to share a little bit about my campaign platform. Everybody knows most of you know about my slogan for my campaign is "People Before Politics." Except for tonight. Tonight it's going to be people before and after politics. You just got to sit through this political part, so appreciate that. But, you know, really it's great to see so many people out here who I've known for many, many years, and some people who I've just met tonight. So, it's just phenomenal to see everybody out here. It's just such a great turnout. And for my family, really appreciate my family being out here tonight. It's not very easy, and People Before Politics for me is not just the campaign slogan, but it starts at home. And my wife can tell you that she's the first one to give me the honey-do list. So I am doing my best to try and put people in my family before the politics, but also getting a little bit of the politics out there. So thanks, sweetheart. And I can't see her face because I see the light in my eyes. So hopefully she's good with that. But yeah, I just want to thank everybody again for being here, and my kitchen cabinet. So my cabinet team that's been helping out. Some of the volunteers that are here have been fantastic. So really, really appreciate it. You're going to do a lot, or you've already done a lot for the first 2 weeks of the campaign, but you're going to do a whole lot, I know, as we get things really geared up and moving and going. And so thank you for my team here. 2 people I really want to thank, that goes without saying, are ones who know exactly what this job is like because they have held it or currently hold it. So John has been a friend for many, many years. Really appreciate all of his friendship, his mentorship over the years. Pat has been a really great mentor over the last couple of months. He's a Springfield supervisor. And while John has been a friend for many years, Pat, we've actually been Facebook friends for many years. Don't know if you realize that, but we've become really, really good friends as well as, you know, a good mentor here. And in fact, Pat, you want to come and say a couple words?
Yeah, real quick. It's hot out here, so I'm going to be short. First of all, a big round of applause for Ken for stepping into the ring. And his family, because this is not an easy task. When people come to me and say, I want to run for office, and I get a lot of people that do that. And anybody that does want to run, please come see me. But what I tell them is, before you run for office, go out and do 3 of these 5 things. You know, be the president of your HOA, get involved in your pool, become a knight at St. Bernadette's, where I went to grade school. Do 3 of those 5 things. Ken's done 9 or 10 of those 5 things. He is made for this. He's engaged in the community. He already knows the community, and the community already knows him. So we have probably the best candidate I've seen on the Republican side for a board seat in a long time, since John came from the same background. People are angry. Angry people vote. Happy people stay home. The residents of Braddock District are going to be angry, and they're going to turn out to elect somebody that will put people before politics and put common sense before political agendas. So with that, I have full confidence. I've been around this guy for the last couple of months, meeting donors, and he's going to raise the money. He's going to appeal to the people, and we will get another voice. It is incredibly important. We always get the better solutions when you have honest, open dialogue. We don't have that on the Board of Supervisors. Because I put a common sense solution forward, it doesn't get a second, which means there's no dialogue. It is absolutely important that we get a second to the common sense solutions that come before the board, and we can get some debate. And Ken, congratulations. I'm looking forward to having you on.
Pat, thank you for those kind words. I'm definitely looking forward to being a second voice on the board for you, bring forward some alternative ways of things. For all of us. Yeah, so bringing forward a voice of reason, voice of compassion, and just another voice on the board to be able to have some alternative thinking. So it's not just myopic thinking that there's only one way of doing things. There are multiple ways to do things. Unfortunately, we just can't get that debate out in public because it often gets shot down. So I want to be a voice for Pat over there. Really want to bring constituent-driven, just priorities back to the Board of Supervisors. And when I announced, and I was thinking about running for campaign for Braddock District office here, I knew that I wanted my kickoff event to be here at Kilroy's. Kilroy's is a legendary local establishment. It's been here for many, many years. I've been here probably more times than I'd like to admit, but it's been, thank you, Andy. Andy's one of those guys that drags me out here. He'll call me at the last minute and be like, hey, you want to go out? I'm like, yeah, sure, let's do it. So, but yeah, it's I've been out here a lot after going to class for my Master's of Public Administration, where I was learning how to run government, because I figured if I'm going to run government one day, I should probably learn how to actually run it. So, Master's of Public Administration focused on local and state politics. So, also was here a lot after some of our old men basketball games that the dads have in the neighborhood. That Johnny, I think, was a big driving force behind. Johnny Racinger over there. And importantly, though, I was also here when the Caps won the Stanley Cup. I was here when the Nats won the World Series. Which I think was your last year in office, John.
See what happened? The whole world collapsed.
There you go. So, Kilroy's has actually served a lot of important milestone life events while I've been here. So it was important for me to be here, to be at Kilroy's. So it's just another milestone life event. And really thankful to Pip and to the ownership and to the managers here at Kilroy's for opening the back patio up for us. So it's really fantastic. But Kilroy's, I won't share too much about Kilroy the person, like the historical figure. You can research that on your own. But Kilroy was an interesting World War II character who started in a very small factory up in Massachusetts. And then he kind of spread globally all throughout the world and all throughout during World War II. And that's kind of a similar path to my story. So my story started, as John said, Civic Association president, as PTA president. I was on the pool, still am on the pool membership record, so if there's anybody here from the pool who wants to take over that role for me, I'd be greatly appreciative. But I started here in the local community. And then John was gracious enough to appoint me to visit Fairfax, which is the official travel and tourism board of Fairfax County. And then I was eventually appointed to be the chair of the the Adult and Community Education Advisory Committee for Fairfax County Public Schools. So I started small, started growing out a little bit. I was even on this board that's called the Consolidated Community Funding Pool Selection Advisory Committee, or the CCFPSAC, as I like to call it. Yeah, you know me. And Linda was on the board with me, so Linda can tell you all kinds of horror stories. I mean, fantastic, fun stories about that. But it is a great advisory board that really helps to fund local nonprofits and community-based organizations, which do a lot of work for people here in our community, especially our most vulnerable folks. So I was very happy to be able to start small, kind of increase my impact, and go even a little bit bigger. And as Braddock District Supervisor, I want to kind of take a very similar approach. I want to have a very people-first mentality. The current Board of Supervisors doesn't, present company excluded, of course, does not necessarily do that. So when I was thinking about running, first thing I did is I listened to hours, literally hours of public testimony, particularly during the budget season. If you have a chance and you really want to nerd out, listen to the Franconia Government Center's public testimony. That was a fantastic fantastic one to listen to, but also very sad at the same time. And then I talked to dozens and dozens of community leaders to figure out what are some issues that are important to them. And I wanted to make their issues my issues. So their priorities became my priorities. And as Braddock District Supervisor, I want to do the exact same thing. I used my conversations to develop a key platform of 5 different priorities that are printed on the poster board over here underneath the Great Minds Drink Alike sign. So for a reference point over there. So yeah, just 5 different priorities there. And one of the most important ones, if not the most important one, is restoring trust and confidence back to the Board of Supervisors to reassure those that we represent that their voices are heard. And if I were to amend that a little bit and kind of tweak it, I would say not only their voices are heard, but they're listened to. Because that is a common theme that we see on the Board of Supervisors, again, present company excluded, that they hear people, they go through the motions of having public hearings, but they don't actually listen to what their constituents are saying. And how can we put our constituents' needs first if we are putting our needs before theirs? So I developed like these 5 key priorities, and I always want to stay connected with the people of Braddock and the people of Fairfax County. And so tonight's event is not only going to be a kickoff for the campaign, but it's also going to be a kickoff of listening sessions that I want to do across Fairfax County, across the Braddock District, that I want to call Brews with Balbuena. And Pat's already said he signed up for the first one that I'm going to do tonight. So, but yes, I want to definitely, just show I'm a different kind of candidate. I want to talk with you. I want to grab a beer with you. I want to show you that I am just like you. I want to make your priorities my priorities. So I hope that you'll take some time and you'll look through my list of priorities here, and that you'll just ask me any questions that you might have, and I'll see where else I can be. Kilroy was the first one to sign on for my Brews for Balbuena tour around Braddock District, so hopefully you'll come and attend another one. But I want to actively listen to you and do what it is that I can to take care of your needs. And I was very, very intentional with organizing these priorities. I didn't want to just do them haphazardly. I really wanted to find the different themes that people were saying, and I wanted to pull those together. And I want to represent the people's voice on the Board of Supervisors. Now sometimes when you hear politicians talk, or aspiring politicians like myself, and you hear them, they pull out these random stories about people and like, oh, let me tell you about little Johnny over here, but sometimes if you're like me, I thought they were probably just fabricated type of stories. Until I was actually out this weekend, and I was in the Kings Park neighborhood. So where are my Kings Park people? All right, we got a couple Kings Park people here, and actually I knocked on Dennis's door, so kind of surprised him. He was very happy to hear that. But a couple doors down from Dennis, I was talking to a lady named Catherine. And Catherine was telling me a little bit about her story. She'd been in Fairfax County since I think the 80s or so, 80s or 90s. No, probably a little bit later than that, maybe about the 90s. But her husband died about 10 years ago. So when her husband died, she's a single parent, trying to raise kids here in Fairfax County on just a little bit of an income. She's a federal worker, and now she's a little bit worried about perhaps losing her job. She's worried about how she's going to be able to pay for college for her oldest, who's now just going into college. She paid $2,000 in taxes per year when her husband died 10 years ago. And now she's paying about $9,000. So she's looking at perhaps moving out of the area. And that's not cool. She has put her country before herself many, many times over, and now her county cannot even put her before their own needs. And that is not right. Definitely not right. And we want to change that. We want to, I want to bring common sense back to the Board of Supervisors. I want to put constituent needs first. I want to take care of the Catherines of the Braddock District and as Fairfax County as a whole. And that's going to be my priority, is I want to help people live, work, play, and stay here in Fairfax County. Bringing balance to the Board of Supervisors. Now those who know me, and that's kind of most of you, those of you who know me know that faith is also a very important part of my life. And this week was actually a very important week within the Catholic Church. There's two very specific feast days that we celebrated. One that was dedicated to Mary, and there was another one who was dedicated to the founder of the Knights of Columbus. And faith played an important role in my life, especially on December 13th, 2017, when I survived a ruptured brain aneurysm. And as I was reflecting a little bit, I knew that there's a little bit more that I was called to in life. There's a reason that I was saved, I survived, more to this life than just, what I was doing in my day-to-day life. And as I reflected on it a little bit more, I started thinking that perhaps that reason, that mission, is to be your Braddock District Supervisor and represent you on the board. Now, speaking of faith, there's a quote I want to read by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He said that faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. So faith is taking the first step, even when you don't know the whole staircase. We don't know when this election is going to be. It's going to be a long journey, but it could be a very short runway. So we don't know when that is going to happen. So we do have to run by faith. But I guarantee you that I'm going to be working hard every single day, whatever that election might be. I'm going to be making sure that your voices are heard. I'm going to be making your priorities my priorities, and together we are going to make Braddock District even better than it is, and we're going to make Fairfax County a fantastic place to live, work, stay, and play for many, many years to come. So I thank you all very much for coming out tonight, and let's go win this race!
Paid for and authorized by Balbuena for Braddock.